Black revolutionaries, distillery owners, Italian fashion retailers, and Motown Grammy winners all share their best stories never before told in any other media outlets on Detroit is Different. Visit DetroitisDifferent.com or download the Detroit is Different app on Apple's App Store or Google's Play Store.
All right, we are back. We are back in full effect in the Detroit is Different podcast studios. It's summertime, and you know what that means in Detroit. It could be any type of weather, but we still loving it. Today, I'm going back actually to my favorite art form, and anybody that knows me knows hip-hop is my favorite art form. It's kind of what got me going in the running start of everything. It's two artists that's cool with somebody connected to the network, Uncle P of the F What You Heard podcast, and Uncle P like, yo, man, Chise and P Dot is doing some stuff, and Chise and P Dot is people you need to connect with. And I was like, all right, they sent me something, but I gotta really get back to them and cover it. But now they in effect. P Dot, Chise,
what's up?
What's happening? All right, and y'all feel that energy, that spirit. You feel the colors, you feel the ambiance. So we talking Detroit rap, Detroit hip hop.
I'm loving it.
Yes. So with that being said, be in the building too. They got their team here, but and they blessing us with the presence. And now we about to learn a little bit about their story. First, let's go. I always start with P Dot family, Detroit. What brought your family to the city of Detroit?
Oh shoot. I mean, I only know about my grandfather's side. My grandfather is Sicilian.
Okay.
And pretty much he was born out of the country, 1915.
Okay.
And came over to the States, landed in Jersey. Majority of my great aunts and uncles, great aunts and uncles are in Jersey and New York area. As far as my mom's side, when I came to be, they were already here, but they migrated up from Alabama, from like Huntsville, Mobile, Birmingham, and I have a few family members that's in Houston and Dallas, Texas. So that's about it. That's all I know. My grandfather, when he came here, he left from Jersey, came to Detroit, and he got a job working at Ford Motor. And he was there all the way up until he retired. So, yeah, other than that, my grandmother, which is my dad's mom, she was just a old-fashioned house mom, took care of 8, 9 kids, numerous grandchildren, great-grandchildren, all the way up until she passed away a couple years ago. But she rested, rest in heaven, As far as my mother's side, my grandfather, he passed away before I was even born. I never had a chance to meet him. I just know stories of legacy and stuff like that. But other than that, my family is pretty much down south here in Detroit.
Okay.
New York.
All right. Now you said 8, 9, so that means you got all type of cousins coming in.
Yeah. My grandfather actually, my dad's, the group, it's 9 of them. But he was married before he got with my grandmother. So he has another set of children. So it's like altogether it's like 17. And then he got like 2 sets, what I'm saying?
That's like y'all do a family gathering. Y'all playing like full court.
I mean, he had a lot of boys. And just like maybe two. He got on my dad's side. It's all boys and 2 girls, but I'm still meeting my family, my extended family, because of course because it's 2 different groups. You know what I'm saying? It's like okay, it's kind of weird,
Yeah.
But
and that naturally brings the next question: What neighborhood?
Mac and Sheridan. Sheridan, East Side.
Okay,
right off the boulevard, between the boulevard and Van Dyke.
Okay, all right. So that neighborhood is definitely a classic Detroit neighborhood. When we think about it, it kind of like goes back one of the communities with black folks in there for a long time. You know what I'm saying?
Over there, a lot of Kettering, there's a lot of Kettering pioneers over there. They still represent, but majority when I go over there, honestly, on that street alone is maybe I can count on one hand how many houses still standing from when I was a little girl. It was full. It was all houses in every spot. Huge families was common over there. 14 15 kids, 9 kids, 11 kids. Like, it was, families were huge. And then when I moved to the west side, which was at that time considered the suburbs, at the time it was considered the suburbs coming from the east. It was like, what is this, brick houses? I went from aluminum side to brick houses, you know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, we came up like the Jeffersons, you know?
Okay. And what part of the west side?
Plymouth and Penrod. I'm right around the block where my grandmother, she's still there, right on Penrod, right around the block from Starters, the original Starters.
Okay, so you went from like Kettering's hood to like Cody's hood.
Yeah, I actually, you know, when I was coming up, I was in elementary school. I moved to the west side when I was 8 years old. So I was going to it was called Jones Elementary, but it got torn down and stuff. And by the time I made it to the west side, went to Marsh, and then I went to Brooks, and then I graduated from Cody.
Okay. All right. So that moves me right over to Chise. And I'm going to come right back into some of them questions because Detroit is different, covers like different neighborhoods of Detroit.
Yeah,
that's part of the story.
Dope. Shoot,
so,
something different.
Same thing with Chise. Yo, peoples, how did they get to Detroit?
I mean, I don't know, you know what I'm saying, all the boat stories and...
This fool said boat.
I don't know all that, but like...
Why? Why I gotta be the boat story though?
I'm saying he like how we got to Detroit.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and shoot, we always been. This is what I've always known.
Okay.
But no, like on my mama's side, I do know, like the bloodline on my mother's side originated, you know, in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I'm like related to the whole city almost.
Okay, so Pine Bluff and that's
I know,
unique
like,
though.
On my dad's side, I know I got family in Chicago.
And that's where I was going to say that's unique because like the lines that usually brought black folks up north and especially to Detroit is industrial age.
Right.
And most of the people from like Arkansas all went further west like to Chicago. Like that's why like a lot of black folks is from like Alabama or Georgia or around Detroit. You know what I'm saying? So to find a family from Arkansas making it to Detroit, I was like, you gotta have cousins in Chicago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because almost like the train routes will run right that way.
Yeah.
Okay. So your peoples is from Arkansas, Pine Bluff. Do you know, like, was it your mom that came up this way, or was it like your granddad, or you don't even know which one was the first one to touch down in the D?
Well, the story of my mother was, or is, you know, is when she was born, her first like 17 or 16, because she still had high school here. So like her first like 15 or 16 years, it was in the South. She was raised by her grandmother.
Okay.
And then my grandmother, which was her mother, finally came and brought her here. So she was in Arkansas.
So you almost like Arkansas. The first generation Detroiter.
No, because I was her third child.
Okay.
So it was like my mother came here, did high school. She graduated. She graduated from Persian.
Okay.
So she got married not too long after she graduated. Had my older brother and sister. Years later, divorced. You know what I'm saying? Had me, and then, you know.
And that's how the story goes. So were you like one of those kids going back and forth because she still was real connected to the South? So like, were you one of those kids that like almost every summer you was down in Arkansas?
Every summer we was in Arkansas, but it was because like if it wasn't like a church, you know what I'm saying, a church fellowship or something, it was a family reunion. If it wasn't a family reunion, it was like, you know, like my uncle was a preacher. So he fellowship with a lot of churches down there anyway. So it was like, it was always a reason to go down to the South every year.
Okay. And they looked at you like, man, you the Detroiter. I know they looked at you like you was like, I don't know.
I always looked at it as just fun. Like just, you know, while we out here, we about to have fun. Like, ain't no reason not to.
Yeah, no, you was like a celebrity around Arkansas.
Yeah, like I really wasn't, you know, like it's just can't really ruin the mood, you know what I'm saying, when you go out of town. like that's what I be trying to tell. Like that's what I had to like put people on. Like when I started like really moving around on my own, like being a Detroiter, it's like when you leave Detroit, it's like, bro, you can't really mess up my vibe unless you really intend to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, man, I'm so happy, right? You know, I'm so comfortable right now just on the strength of my mind frame and where I come from.
So, and within that neighborhood, you said she graduated from Persian, but what was the neighborhood that you grew up in?
8 Mile and Grasher, 48205.
Okay, so you was like right on the cusp of like being able to like walk to Eastland every day if you wanted to.
Yeah, I stay on Bringard, but I stay like at the end. So like I had to like mine was just that one stretch because I stayed right there, Bringard on 8 Mile and Grasher. So I was like on the corner.
Yeah,
But I could take the street straight across and cut through the Home Depot a lot.
Yep. And right there at the movies or whatever.
That Target was right there.
Yep, movies or whatever. You probably got all types of Eastland stories being right there.
Yeah, Eastland. You know, that's my whole child. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's my whole childhood, really. Like, walk through that thing every day.
Yeah, it's like, Eastland definitely, for everybody listening, the first mall in America was Northland Mall. So that was America's first mall, and over time, like, you know, more malls came just across America, and Eastland definitely had like the anchor of the East Side in it, like the feel, the vibe. You know, it's one of the few places where you'll see somebody like wearing $10,000 worth of clothes, and then see another person wearing $5 worth of clothes, and they just all kicking it. Like, it's like, this is East Side. You know what I'm saying?
And it's crazy because that's why I be feeling like, you know what I'm saying, like when it's all said and done, and like my story be told, it be like I can't really say that I felt like I grew up in poverty. Because I really didn't feel like, due to my surroundings and how cats was just like, you know, like, when I grew up, I realized like, niggas just had rich parents. But, you know, at the same time, it was fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like I didn't ever, like, even though I didn't have what everybody else had, I didn't feel like my surroundings was just low poverty.
Okay. What high school you go to?
I graduated from Harper Woods. I was enrolled in Denby for like 2 weeks.
DB.
And then they end up hitting me with that voicemail. Couldn't go back. So my mother immediately got me a Harper Woods address. I can admit it now.
All
I got
so
to pay.
What was because I know your whole crew was at Denby. And Denby, for people to know, like, that's definitely one of the schools that I think, you know, when people think Eastside, they think that
my middle school was Burbank. So everybody from Burbank went to Denby.
Yeah. And Denby, you know.
Unless you was like hooping into something and you went to Cass or something like that.
Yep. Denby had a solid hoop squad for a while. But, I mean, it wasn't Persian or Finny,
that's what I'm saying. You know. I didn't even step in the hallway, man. I didn't even step in the hallway. Like, I didn't go like that. Like, I came a block near the school, end up seeing a cat that I had kicked it with the day before, and walked the other way with him. That's the closest I came to school.
Ain't that something? But yeah, it's like that's the neighborhood school feel.
We end up grabbing some Burger King right there and called it, you know, started our day.
It's like skip school on the first day. I know that was a weird phone call when OG got it. So
I'm talking about she immediately took charge.
Okay. Within that, let's shift off into hip hop and rhyming. When did you start rhyming?
I started rhyming at 12.
Okay. What was it that was the catalyst to say, all right, I'm about to start rapping?
I had an older brother who rapped. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And like coming up under him, he had this little group. Him and his friends called Unit 8. So when they used to have their little rehearsals and their ciphers and everything, I used to just, you know, be in the corner, dog, just thinking that shit was cool. You know, so immediately, like, I took a liking into it, ended up wanting to pick it up. And then one day, while I was in middle school, I had ran into my now best friend, T. We started this little group called the D Boys. You know what I'm saying? He had rap for me, I rap for him. We were like, all right, let's do this rapping thing.
And when you started, were you writing rhymes down? Were you just freestyling? How'd you go about it?
I used to write rhymes down, but like, I used to be like just a metaphor punchline person.
Okay.
Like, it had to make no sense, no structure sense at all. But as long as the metaphor is there, like...
Whoa. Okay. All right. Yeah, we still in the mix. I know people like off camera, they want to laugh. We had like a lean back in a chair situation. This the Detroit is different feel, you know.
You can always count on tape.
So, but then he was just getting a better angle of the interview, and I know that threw off the whole question, which I'm about to bounce it back to P Dot now, and she probably laughing harder. So
I'll come in.
All right,
She was trying to grab you.
okay.
You can
B
always
Scarber.
count on tape.
Real name, no gimmicks. Underground Hip Hop Awards. Shout out my partner Uncle P. Want to thank Detroit is different for having us.
Yeah,
Appreciate y'all, man.
That's the professionalism. I'm gonna get this in that same zone as they gather. They gather. Y'all watching
I'm
the real
good
moments
now.
in Detroit.
Trying to wait for them
You
to gather.
right. P-Dot.
Yes, sir.
What led for you to start rhyming?
Oh man, just being around a few friends that was dabbing in it. One of my boys named Point, he was starting off in the producer realm of it. It was back in the days of the ADATs and stuff like that. So one day I went over there and he, every time he used to create something, he just used to be like, I got some beats, come check me out or whatever. So I go around there, listen to him or whatever. But what got me in the studio honestly was one day just sitting there vibing with him, and we was just toying around rapping over some music, and he was like, I like the way your voice sound, you know what I'm saying, like your voice is kind of unique, like you ever thought about rapping or whatever? I'm like, nah, I never thought about rapping. So what ended up happening is he was like, I got something that I wrote, you know what I'm saying, like I said, I wasn't even thinking about performing, rapping, or none of that stuff back then. I wasn't even in my mind to do it, but so he wrote some music and he was like, if you can remember it, you know what I'm saying, go home, remember it, come back, you know what I'm saying.
And this is back when I
was in high school. I was like 13 going on 14.
And you were like super genius type. You was 13 in high school? That's what's up.
Now, I mean, it was the summer going into, you know what I'm saying? My birthday is July. So school be out when my birthday, you know what I'm saying?
You were one of them people where your mom could have waited to put you in.
Nah, she wasn't playing around. My mom used to be like, we was in school early, we was in Head Start, Vacation Bible School, all that. You know what I'm saying? My mother was a single parent, so anything that she can get us involved in that had us, productive, she put us in, anything that we wanted to do. And, she'd be like, okay, once I get y'all started, ain't no stopping. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the rapping is concerned, it just was somebody hearing something in me that I didn't hear myself, but it ignited. Once I did it, it kind of was
and he actually. So when you mentioned ADATs and stuff, this was like a real studio.
It was a real studio. The ADATs, he had the one with the sound, the one with the music. I never been in the studio before. I was like, what is that? It looked like VCR tapes. You know what I'm saying?
It definitely,
but it's not. Yeah. It was audio. You know what I'm saying?
So for people that are listening, a lot has changed in the matter of
a lot.
What's happening with music. Like I went to the disc and not that far from the Recording Institute of Detroit, and my training to be a recording engineer came in 2001 through 2003. So I was like on the end of what is known as the hardware age of equipment to the software age of
going
equipment.
Going to the digital.
Where people back then would even say like, are you really recording on a computer? Whereas now people would look at you like you're a dinosaur if you just want to go with real recording equipment. But during that time, ADAT is an audio digital it's like an audio digital recording device that looks just like a VCR tape.
Just like a VCR
but
tape.
It's better than and easier to use than a reel to reel. And I actually still have some of them old ADATs. I don't know how I bounce it over, but they cost a lot of money. So to have an ADAT machine means that was like a serious real deal studio that you was going into.
That was the first studio I ever went into. It was on the west side. I still remember who he is. I haven't seen him in a while, but his name is Corey. He had 2 sons that he was teaching the engineering and, you know, how to run the studio. But it was the father. His name was Corey. He was the first studio I went to. It was right on Orange Line, right by Rudge. He had it in his home. It was in the basement. It was nice. Like, the whole basement was tore out. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was a kitchen down there. It was like real kitchen where you could cook, whip up. You know what I'm saying? Bathroom down there. No excuse, no reason to go upstairs in his living quarters. But that was the first studio I ever been in, and that's what ignited gave me the aha moment. I like doing this. Like,
okay, and you being that age, you weren't nervous. You weren't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was nervous because I'm the type of person I don't never want to mess up. You know what I'm saying? Even at that young of an age, I used to be like, I don't know, I don't want to mess up. Especially when I learned that he's paying for these hours. Like, I'm like, you know, I didn't know anything about that. You know, and I think back then, he probably was paying like $25 an hour, $30 an hour or something.
That's a good discount deal because that type of studio back then should have been like about $50.
He believed
at minimum.
the guy Corey was teaching my friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
He was like kind of showing him, you know what I'm saying, how to do it. Basically, he was interning up under him. So he, you know, we that's how we became accessible. You know what I'm saying? How the studio was accessible to us. Like,
yeah, and for people that don't know, if you've never rapped, it looks real. I think rap and comedy are probably the 2 things that people think are very simple, but rap ain't simple.
It's not.
Especially even rapping on beat. Like, it's a lot of times, you know, transitioning from being able to rap and then rapping on beat.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds simple to say you can rap on beat, but if the measure in a bar and you learn how to write in bars, and even if
people don't know
like
how
what
to
people
count.
call the Detroit style, like rapping off beat is still
on beat
art form to knowing how to, you know, I did this.
Yep, the cadence.
Right.
And when you hear the beat and you're thinking to yourself like, how did he do that?
Found that pocket. It's a little pocket. That's what they call it, a pocket, where you when you meet your cadence, like certain beats that have you speed up your flow. Certain if you get really good, then you could toy and play around. You could switch up, go fast, slow. You could switch up in the middle or something. So it just depends on how much you work on your craft. You know what I'm saying? To be able to perfect
off
that
feel.
Yeah, it's about your feeling, because it'll tell you, it'll talk to you.
Like, some people hear that beat and they just want to feel cocky on it. So, okay, we're going to talk like this and do it real slow. Go ahead and hit the studio. What? You know?
But within that, then when you play it back, if you've never really been in the studio and it sounds completely off.
Right.
Because in your head versus what it is, it's an art form to it. Like, it's still a skill set that I think getting the bar, getting the measure, knowing where it is.
It's a learned thing.
You know,
it's something that you learn over time. Yep.
Well, I mean, whether you high, whether you sober, whether you whatever, I think sometimes depending upon how whatever, I mean nowadays, I don't know if you on pills or if you on weed or
lean,
if
it be on some
alcohol
everything
or whatever. I mean, you could just be on wheatgrass juice. Like, if you're not knowing where it is and how to go about it, and it sounds off, sounds off. I just listened to like Too Short that did he did, like, he's doing his Too Short stories like on Instagram, and he said, I did 116 bar verse for Dre, and I had to do 4 8-hour sessions of the same 16 bars over and over and over
he wanted him to perform
because I don't want to hear the breath. I want to hear the K, and when you say kick, I want to hear the you catching all of this.
I was just about to say it comes into play with the engineer, because sometimes engineers catch here, like out working with different engineers like Maestro and Asar and stuff like that. Like they hear stuff that you just be trying to get it out, and they be like, hold on, I think you could do that better. give me another one, or you pronunciated, you know, your enunciation wasn't clear on that one. Let's do that again. We're trying, and then it's like the more you do it, you try to keep your energy, you try to keep it believable. You know what I'm saying? It's like acting. It's 100% entertainment. Like people think it's easy. It's not easy.
True. And even with this podcasting, like, and that's what podcasting, because it's conversation, is different. But when you smile, you hear a smile. I know it sounds weird. When you smile, you hear a smile.
Junk cracking.
You hear a person laughing. So like if I'm in a bar and I say, like, you know, like Jay-Z to me has great execution. It's like, you know, friend or foe, what you want to do? Like he's posing the question and adding personality to the question so that you even if you don't speak English, you know, oh, that's a question.
Yeah.
Because his
hear the tone.
voice went up a pitch on that question. But when we get into, like, I know I'm rap nerding right now, but when you get into that, that's the difference between a bar hitting a person like where it's
relatable.
Hard,
yeah.
and then it's just like a person just saying it. It's like, what you want to do, friend or foe?
Yeah, that's what they say. The performance. That's what they call the performance. So when you get in there and you're reciting, you know, you don't want to sound like you reading. You want to sound like just like how you and I are having a conversation.
Yes.
You want it to be as natural as possible. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they'd be like, okay. I had to learn that over time. Like when a person tell me, like, okay, I think you could do that a little bit. It's the performance. It's the making it believable part.
And
not
also
sound like it's reading.
And also, you know, depending upon how deep you go, certain rhymes can, like, on purpose can become more memorable based on the words you use.
Yeah.
How many syllables are in those words you use. How you have the word fit the beat. And this is really like what you say. It's the relationship between a rapper and the engineer. Because even as an engineer myself, if I don't really like your music, I'm going to deliver, but I'm not going to be as creative as, like, no, I really like what he's going to do. How do I get the most out of him or her?
Yeah.
Versus if I'm just like, all right, it's $60 an hour.
Yeah, because we could tell, honestly, what people don't know is, as artists, we could tell when we just dealing with somebody who just want the money and somebody who's really involved craft-wise. You know what I'm saying? We could tell. We're like, oh, he don't care. He just pressing the button, go ahead, y'all. Thank you for the money. Goodbye. But then you run into those engineers and producers that be like, okay, look, however long it take, is however long it take. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't try one hit or quit it. Don't try. If you mess up, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because some people put it in you like, okay, and when you go in here and you do it one take, that's you know, like that's the top notch thing to do. But it's like, okay, let me know if I mess up. Because you on the outside listening in. Yeah. You can hear what I'm saying. I can't hear what I'm saying. So if you hear me stutter a little bit, you hear a lisp, or you hear a little something, tell me so I can correct it. Because once it's out there, then it's out there. I can't fix it.
Yeah, you can't fix it, and you only got one time to leave that first impression.
Right.
Which that kind of brings to, you brought about your first studio time. Chise, what was the first time you hit the studio? Where was it at? What was the circumstances? What you record?
First time I hit the studio was 13. Yep.
So you was young 13.
Too. Yep, 13. It was called One Touch Studios on 6 Mile and Grasher.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It was in like the back of a like the place was actually a record store. You know what I'm saying? They had all the CDs and the tapes and everything, and then all the way in the back, it was like a room just like this. You know what I'm saying? And it was a studio. The booth was like right over there, and then it was just like this big board right here, and then it was this big cat by the name of Vale. You know what I'm saying? Vale, and we was back there, man. We made a song. We impressed the big homies. We was like, if we can impress these older cats, I know we can impress our peers at school. Took it to school the next day. You know what I'm saying? Started to like pump it around the school. And just off of that, next thing you know, we battling in the lunchroom. And from there, we doing stuff like talent shows and Black History programs. And now we're doing our own.
Anything that could be a show.
Yeah.
Now, within that, so was this like a group? Was this a crew? Like, who was at the studio?
It was because like I say, it's all in one. You know what I'm saying? Like group, crew, you know, because outside of music, we all just was brothers. You know what I'm saying? So it was me, you know, shout out to my homie Turks dude, his brother Q Nice, and then his cousin Danger. At the particular time, you know what I'm saying, his other cousin Ty and his cousin Mark, you know what I'm saying, they was rapping too, but they ain't really rap for long. And then as time went on, you know what I'm saying, shout out to V Noco, shout out to Chef, you know what I'm saying, it like went like through a couple other cats that was on the block with us, you know, and then from there, kind of like end up all right here, what you see.
Okay. Now with that, like for everybody listening that's not as familiar with like a hip hop growth, like a rap
Like that's
group.
the whole, I ain't even say it though, my bad, that's on me. I ain't even like, but that's like the whole 3269 thing. 3269 mean D-boy. So like after a while, you know what I'm saying, we like, everybody gonna keep claiming D-boy because we from Detroit. It's an easy thing to think of. Might as well go ahead and switch it up, but at the same time, we ain't gotta change nothing. We just being unique and still being in our own lane. So 3269 mean D-boy off the house, like, you know, off the house phone
the dial.
pad.
Yeah.
3269 spelled D-boy. And you can even look on your cell phone and even see that. So that's like where we got it from.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And I was just letting people know like a rap group versus a rap crew. So like a rap group is like a group that of people that really rap. So like Outkast, for the person listening, would be the group. The Dungeon Family would be the crew. So like all of the other people associated with coming to the show, wearing the shirts, probably moving at the time, maybe CDs or whatever. Like that is like they're a part of the movement, but they not necessarily performers. So that's like matters.
That's what's so crazy. You could not be around us and not rap. Like that's what I'm saying. It was plenty people that came around us, and when they came around us, they didn't rap. You know what I'm saying? But give it about 3 months. You know what I'm saying? They got a verse now. Because once we realized that, you know what I'm saying, we can go ahead and might have a future in this, we went ahead and purchased our own equipment.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We went ahead and invested in just making the music. But after making the music, it's just on some, okay, let's burn this CD. We got this out. You know, we taking it over here, letting them hear it. But ain't nobody, you know, we don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? All we know is we from wherever block that we on right now, dog, we got them banging our shit. And right now, that's enough for some little niggas, especially with a couple dollars in our pocket.
So what equipment did you guys get first? Because that is definitely the independent route. What was the first piece of equipment you guys got?
T already had the computer, so he went ahead and we went ahead and purchased a mic. It was a pawn shop right on 8 Mile. We went ahead and purchased the mic, the mixer and everything already came with the mic purchase. So we went ahead and got the program. What was that program called? Cyberbase, Cubase. Cubase. We got the program Cubase. You know what I'm saying? We went ahead and downloaded that. And then from the mic, the mixer, and then using his pop's basement, because his pops had this big space, like his basement was big as hell, but you know, we had like this little ducked off space, turn off the furnace sometimes, and then boom, get to it. So from there, we just used to, like, it was enough to just hear ourselves, you know what I'm saying? But like, as far as like mixing and mastering, we ain't know nothing about it. It was just straight. Is it good enough to play? Turn that up, turn that down, boom, put it in the car, let's see how it sound.
All right, now, with that, shows, you mentioned the school shows. What was the first show y'all did outside of school?
First show we did outside of school was it was a birthday party. It was a chick that went to our school. She had a birthday party at one of them what they call like UAW
UAW halls.
halls.
Like that. Yeah.
It was off of It was off of like 9 Mile and Kelly or something, like right off that freeway. She had a party over there, and it got crazy. It got crazy, but it was on some like when we pulled up, we chilled in the parking lot for like 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? We chilled in the parking lot for like 2 hours just on some. We young, we got liquor and everything like that. So we really ain't trying to just, we know we can't just be walking around, you know what I'm saying, like that. So we really just on some chilling in the parking lot, getting ready, boom, boom. So once we walk up in the party, it ended up being a little, not like a fight, but a little scuffle between one set of people that wanted one individual between the other set of people who already had the individual. That gets settled within like 20, 25 minutes. So we had this song at the time called Crispy. It was like a fashion song. You know what I'm saying? I think it went like, if I can remember it correctly, it was like crispy when you got tall tees, button ups, crispy in the old school, crispy in the truck, throwback jerseys from the 1960s. If somebody hating, tell that boy get crispy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the jerseys and the throwbacks was in at that time, if you remember.
Yeah.
So I just remember like when we performed, when we first came on with it, I swear you wouldn't even thought that a fight just happened. Cause everybody was, everybody really was like took presence in they gear at that time. So it was like, hell yeah, and then we crispy. You know what I'm saying?
So the music basically, y'all performance helped chill out what was happening before it.
And we end up getting another party.
That's what's up. So from that performance, did it like you all actually did something that most rappers don't do. Y'all first performance, y'all was performing for like what I call an audience versus performing for other rappers.
But
because a lot of rappers sometimes, let me get this point. Like in the rap journey, like comedy, this is similar. You'll hit a lot of open mics. And when you go to open mics, you usually performing for other rappers and not necessarily like at a party, you performing for an audience. So in performing for an audience, that's a better experience, I think. But
yeah, it was great. That's why I say. That's why, like, when you asked me, that's why when I laughed at first. Cause like, you know what I'm saying. I take pride in actually having such a dope first experience.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was actually gonna be my story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cause you watch it so many times. You know, when you watch the ones that you inspire and look up to, when you watch their story and how they first time be so cool and all of that, and then you watch the greats like Sam and all of them, you see how they first times was cool stories. So it give you, kind of let you feel good. Like, okay, I'm on the right track so far.
Yeah.
you know, my first time cool.
When did you finally like hit an open mic or perform for rappers and recognize like, okay, this is a whole different thing?
I mean, like I say, I did all of that in Burbank. Like I say, by the time we was in the 8th grade, the school by itself was letting us do personal concerts where they canceling 5th and 6th hour for us to rap. Like with its flyers, posters on the wall, D-boys, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's when we realized, like, okay, we can actually do something. But it's just, at the time, it just like YouTube and all that wasn't like that. So it wasn't, it wasn't like easy just to flaunt and show. So like our mind really didn't care about, oh, let's record this or let's get this. We were just living in the moment. Like, man, it's fun,
Which, P-Dot, that moves me back to you and the performance journey. When did you, and more so just in performance, when did it hit you from like, you talked about your first time in the studio. When did it become like, all right, this is really what I'm about to start doing? When did it hit where I'm going to do this?
That moment, honestly. But once I got into Cody, and they used to have ciphers and stuff, and I used to sit back and watch all the art. Well, it's a lot of them are making moves now today, but then, you know, it just was something we used to do. We used to link up in the 4th hour lunchroom, in the Cody lunchroom, and they used to beat on the tables with the lighters or with the pens or whatever, and they used to go around. But I was building my confidence up, and one time I jumped into the cipher, received well, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna keep doing it. So as far as like hobby wise and passion wise, it developed that year. You know what I'm saying? But it was like years later when one of the guys from the neighborhood, he was ambitious and he was like, I want to start a label. You know what I'm saying? And the person who brought me into the studio the first time brought the work that I did with him, took it to him, he heard it, and then I met him, and then I got signed, you know what I'm saying, at a young age. So it was like, from then, it was more of a passion still then. I really didn't know the business. I was so young, but, you know, it was fun, you know what I'm saying? So I was doing a lot of performing with the older guys in the neighborhood.
Now that adds a whole nother layer, because hip-hop, like a lot of industries, is definitely male-dominated.
Yep.
You know, so being a woman, being a young girl at the time, how did you navigate that? Because it just, the energy, it's a lot of testosterone, it's a lot of, you know, just the whole presence. Like, you can go to underground rap shows and damn near, I assume if I see a woman, it's like, okay, she gotta be the girlfriend of like one of these rappers. Like, sometimes you can count on one hand how many women are in, like, you know, I've been in the shelter. The shelter's the like underground space of St. Andrews Hall, but the shelter's where a lot of hip hop shows happen. But it's not, underground hip hop is not a space where women usually go.
No, like, I mean, I never been as a girl, I was never shy. I was dancing, I was like, you know, I was very open-minded, very free-spirited, so I was never scared. But it was like something like with my crew. I was on the label with Malik, Cheddar Boy Malik, Jeff Brown, Snipe. They were battlers, you know what I'm saying? And they barred up heavy. And it was like I had to develop that, because as a first lady, it was like when we came out, Rock Bottom was out, Street Lords was out, you know what I'm saying? So it was like crews, and they all had a first lady. You know, Raw Collection, they had Redbone. The Rock Bottom, they had Nina the Pimp and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They had different artists, female. So it just used to be our female artist, our first lady, harder than y'all's. You know what I'm saying? They used to pit us against each other a lot of the times. But I came out the gate aggressive because of my surroundings. You know what I'm saying? I was barring up and getting molded in the aggressive bar up battle rap era. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't never no lollipop, sugar plum speaking rapping female. You know what I'm saying? I came out the gate aggressive. You know what I'm saying? So I was always able to hold my own against whoever, girl, guy, whoever. So when they used to try and stereotype me and stuff like that, because I used to be like, when I was younger, I dress today, you know what I'm saying? Jogger suits and stuff like that. They be like, oh, she rapped. And they automatically think that because you're a female, that you're not good. You know what I'm saying? So I found myself having to prove myself a lot of the times. I had to prove myself a lot. Still to this day, still got to prove myself.
Yeah. And also just like the span of it, and yeah, shout out like Redbone,
Redbone, and Miss Coronas, Boss, you know what I'm saying? All the females that came out and stuff, like who said, oh, look, we not about to be selling sex, we just gonna bar up, you know? It's harder for us, you know what I'm saying? It's easy to just go out there and just flaunt, you know, show, just be what everybody expects you to be. You know what I'm saying? Sexual object or whatever. Like, it's easy to talk about nothing. But it's like, if you want to be honestly respected as a MC, like, I hate people calling me rapper. Like, she's a rapper. I'm not a rapper, bro. I'm an artist. You know what I'm saying? I'm an entertainer. It's different. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this too long to be called a rapper. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of offensive. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, once you reach a certain level, it's like, okay, I can show you more than I can tell you. A lot of the times, I love to had a surprise factor when I'm about to get on stage, and then I get up there and I actually shut that motherfucker down, and then I get up off of there. Then they be like, "Damn, I ain't know. I know you didn't." So but now that you do.
Within that, okay, let's break that down, because it's definitely like different definitions. So like, when you hear rapper, what's the connotation? What's the
It's
thing
like
that
you
comes to
saying
your
like
mind?
I'm doing it as a hobby. I'm past the hobby phase. You know what I'm saying? I've been investing. I've been doing this for years. You know what I'm saying? And stuck to it. And I've been investing hard-earned money. You know what I'm saying? Stuff that I could have been doing anything else. I really believe in myself. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what anybody else think, you got to believe in yourself first. So if you don't want to invest in yourself, you can't expect for nobody else to do it. You know what I'm saying? You could be cold. You could be the coldest spitter and not know the business. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But it's like when they say rapper, it's like hobby or ha. Like they already look down on hip hop as like it's nothing anyway. You know what I'm saying? Being living and you know what I'm saying, paying your bills and creating a legacy off of music. They look at you like that ain't nothing. But I be like, you get up there and do it. See how many tomatoes get thrown at you? See, you get get booed off the stage or whatever. It's a process, like, you know. So yeah, that's offensive. Like a lot of people probably don't open up and say, like, hey dog, I don't like being called a rapper. Like that's really offensive. Like
So and that just leads to one of my questions too, because kind of when I talk to especially a lot of the younger cats doing hip hop,
Yeah.
like the art form itself and music in general. How much is music? Because it's such a disconnect, because I don't even know how people even value music as if this is a product to be sold now. Because like record stores don't exist,
Right.
You know, when I talk to most cats, when they come up to me and say, hey man, help me with what I'm doing with my music, and then
Right.
the first thing I turn around and say, okay, when's the last time you paid for a concert ticket? When's the last time you paid for an actual iTunes album?
Right.
When's the last time you paid for music? So it's like, okay, you not even the audience of people you trying to sell this to.
Right.
Like you're making a product that you probably don't even know who the buyer is.
Right.
Like, so right now you're you definitely help it. You're like a part of, I guess, the promotion of it. And when you look at the numbers of rest in peace Nipsey Hussle, like when he put up the numbers of like how much you get for like a stream, a YouTube play, and we're still just blindly trusting this, like it like do we that love hip hop, are we adding to the problems in hip hop by not really even paying for hip hop? Like, and I guess this is just an open question, because I had this talk with a lot of people, like P and just a lot of people. Like, how do we respect more of it when it's free in most people's mind right now?
So let me get it on that one.
Okay, all right.
So, a lot of what you've been saying so far in the interview has been like debunking craftsmanship and artistry from commonplace that takes place on the business side. And what I mean by commonplace that takes place on the business side, you just need a product to sell in terms of the hip hop music business. And so artists, male or female, producers, arrangers, studio homes, they have become products and brands because they've had to survive the climate of the internet, as you brought about earlier when you was talking about the transition from analog to digital. And so with that transition, everything became accessible. You know, the cost of a studio session in the mid-90s in comparison to what somebody would pay for a studio session now, and just the accessibility to do it yourself in a way that you couldn't back then, it watered down, you know what I'm saying, the hazing process, and it watered down the paying dues process to kind of show and earn your craftsmanship to be able to compete and call yourself legitimately an MC or artist. So it's easier now for people who don't really have that talent to learn the talent and to kind of create a skill and then turn that skill into a product or brand and sell it, because what we value is the lifestyle that comes from the music, and that's what they're selling. So it's more about the lifestyle than it is about the artistry. So I'm going to sell you on that every night I'm partying, or I'm going to sell you on every night I got multiple sexual relationships happening. Every night I'm blowing money. You know, they selling you that lifestyle. And because people want to be entertained, and even like in movies, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll sells. So it's less about the artistry, and it's less about having a real talent that you develop or a real skill that you sharpen steel against steel and cure and make sure, you know, it's solid. It's less about that. Like even what you were saying about being an engineer and having went to school for it. It's a lot of young men that I know who want to engineer, who want to produce, And I made the same suggestion about the Recording Institute of Detroit. One, because it's a certificate program. It's not traditional education. It's affordable, and legitimately in our market is so many studios that if you get that piece of paper, you can be employed in less than 60 to 90 days or you graduate from the program, because it's not enough good quality engineers in the city. Like, it's more rappers than there are good engineers.
Okay, and this is what's so weird about that, B. I gotta pick your brain on this because this be climbing around my brain. So as you talk about, they're selling the lifestyle, and that's what people want, and I agree. I remember I was a part of a promotion where it was a concert, and it was an after party, right? And it was easier to sell out the after party than the concert. Correct. And I was like, this is a whole different culture. This was maybe like 4 years ago. Okay. Because if I would have had the option of going to see, like, I don't know, like some of my favorite MCs, like, let's say Nas. I don't want to go to the after party with Nas. I want to see him on stage spitting. Right. And I wouldn't even, like, it wouldn't even thought process of, like, having a VIP booth next to Nas is something that I want to do. I want to see Nas on stage rapping, you know what I'm saying, Nas is like. Right. So as we talk about the lifestyle, and the lifestyle is a part of the branding now, and that's a good way of saying it, because that is, I think, what people connect with. Should an artist, is it smarter just to focus more on things outside of the music? Should you be more focused on the clothes, more focused on the look, more focused on the photo shoot, more focused on who you follow on Instagram, more focused on that girl from Instagram taking a regular post with you and going live with you? Like, does it make sense to even focus on the music if it seems like more of the success is associated with the rap lifestyle than anything else? Because it just, that's where the culture is right now.
Yes and no. Music is still the soundtrack to what's happening. So when you talk about the average Detroit quote-unquote artist or rapper and the subject matter and content they refer to, is definitely high on lifestyle. But that lifestyle that they're rapping about on the record is still the soundtrack to what's going on at that particular event, party, or situation where that music might be being played. So it kind of goes hand in hand. I think it really depends on the artist, their team, who's behind them, who pushing them, on how much you focus on the talent and the skill, and how much you focus on the business side of it and trying to make money off of it. And I always tell people that that's the old question that you have to ask yourself when you get off into this is, am I doing this for myself and the people that, like my family and friends, that support me? Because if that's your goal, then you can make music all day at home and just give it to your family and friends and not think none of it. But if you on some level have a desire to want to be known, even citywide, you know, more than your neighborhood, then you kind of got to jump in that business bag a little bit. And then when you jump in that business bag, you making the conscious decision to understand that, okay, once I give this music to the public, it's no longer mine. So I'm living and dying with the criticisms and opinions that come with it. And sometimes that opinion can be non-musicality based. It's not based on how well it was mixed and mastered. It's not based on the content of what you might have wrote or rapped about. It's not based on how good or how great the quality of the production is. It's based on if they just simply liked the beat, thought the hook was okay, or if that record, they might have heard it 2 a.m. in the club and they was high off of lean and pills, and it made a good transition to their next location.
And what you said is kind of something that I key in on all the time too. People want an experience.
Right.
And like J. Cole album just came out. And to me, J. Cole make music I like listening to in the fall more than the summer. So like I listen to it. I'm like, this is dope. But I'll come back to this sometime like in October or November. Because right now my mind ain't in that zone. And it ain't saying that the music is bad. It just...
It don't fit.
That vibe
it don't fit
ain't
where you
really
at.
where my vibe is right now.
Right. It don't
and
fit where
right. You at. You know, when I had my Monte Carlo, it's like, okay, I never would listen to Gucci Mane. But guess what? Gucci Mane and my Monte Carlo, it fit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it fit. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, you know, in Ford Fusion, it's like, I'm going to vibe out with more like I be vibing out with more regular, like I'm listening to Najee or in you know what the old school joints my mom and them used to play. I'm like Shane Park jazz on a Wednesday most times. You know what I'm saying? But that be the feel. Whereas when we work out, yo, we're something with more energy, more adrenaline. You know what I'm saying? I generally would not listen to this song, but now let's pull it in.
Yeah, and that's where a good producer, A&R arranger, that's where like that Quincy Jones style of way of producing, to some degree Timbaland style of way of producing, to some degree Diddy come in, because it's like you have to be able to take note of the vibe and the energy that exists in commonplace in terms of where the world is. You got to have your pulse on what's going on. And some of the biggest records that we all know and love that span all the decades of hip-hop were culturally sound and relevant
at that time, but it
could
expand out of it.
Right.
You know, like, I mean, rest in peace, Chuck G. Like, Humpty Dance hit at It's a Party. It was more dancing. And like, people really dance. So it's like, okay, I can do this new dance. And the beat got a good backbeat, good bass. It's a real funk man doing this. This kind of sound like the funk my parents was listening to.
Right.
So I can spin out of, like, I'm not gonna play this, but I can play this, you know?
Yeah, it's a culture record, and because it's a great culture record that hit during this time, it got passed on down through generations at family functions and graduation ceremonies or whatever was the positive moment that was going on. So even today, if a DJ press play on it, you're going to get a reaction because it's like a cultural relic. It's going to always absorb and have that space, and so that's like you said earlier, where we kind of nerd out, that's kind of like been the whole approach with working with them.
And that's what the next question for both of you guys, as I wrap up, you all did something that ties to something that is very Detroit.
Yeah.
And that is like Coney Island is a Detroit to the point where, like, sometimes I used to ask rappers, I'm like, how many Coney numbers you got saved in your phone? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Where do you, you know, how do you go? And it's like, no, I ain't gonna go to that one. I'm gonna go to this one. And like, what was it about Coney that made you say, I'm tying into that? And even like with what Tone doing with his Coney Island, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was it about that made you want to say, I want to capture this essence of the culture of Detroit through hip hop?
Well, I want to kind of like distance a little bit with the Coney Island. So the energy and the concept and the whole coming together with that, we did that a few months prior to the announcement of Coney Island and kind of some of the other stuff that's going on culturally right now with Coney Island overall. But for me, supporting them creatively and on the business end as a manager, it was a creative way to bring them both together under something that was culturally relevant for the city. So it was a way of saying they were from Detroit without saying Detroit, by using the Coney Island theme and bringing their styles together, kind of complement each other. Because as far as I know, they're the first as a collaborative male and female kind of like duo to do it. Usually it'd be two women or it'd be two dudes or, as you said earlier, a whole collective crew of people. But you never seen the male and female kind of come together and do that. So you shift it over to them. But that's pretty much what it was, man. And the genius and simplicity on my end, from a marketing standpoint, it was just like that was a start button in terms of bringing them together, that concept to make people pay attention. So it was very intentional in selecting that concept. It was very intentional in remaking the record that we selected. It was very intentional how they collaborated with it, because I knew that the hip-hop people would love it. I knew that the street side would love it. I knew people who were fans of that record would remember that sample and it would draw them in. It was like, again, it was like making a cultural piece. And then once that we got people's attention, now we can feed them everything they've been working on and everything they've been doing prior. So all of that was intentional.
So, and I'm away from the mic, and I'm setting up the camera again. All right, so with that, I mean, same thing to you guys. What was it about the piece that made you all, when B presented you with the theme, that said, all right, this I want to hop on this. I'm in.
I mean, honestly, it just was a no-brainer for me, because already being a fan of Chise music and work, already doing business and having a business relationship with Scarb, it was like, you know, honestly, everything that he has been doing from the past to the present has been well thought, well put together. You know what I'm saying? And it's always a reason. Like, okay, just trust me. You know what I'm saying? And I have a big level of trust for him. You know what I'm saying? I know he has my interests at heart. You know what I'm saying? As well as Chise and our other partners and stuff. So it was like, for me, it was like, okay, if you feel like it'll work, I mean, what can go wrong? Like, what can honestly go wrong with making a song called Coney Island when you in Detroit and everybody can relate? You know what I'm saying? And it's just, honestly, you know, food for the soul, food for the spirit. Is just, you know, honestly introducing the rebirth of hip hop. Like, okay, I know y'all probably tired of that. You know what I'm saying? So let me bring y'all back on and hit y'all with some of this real hip hop and stuff and get y'all back into the feel good music and you know what I'm saying, your emotions, you know what I'm saying, and the nostalgia, you know what I'm saying, a whole lot of things, you know. So it was just a no-brainer, honestly, real talk. I was with it from the time that he said who he wanted to do it with and how we was going to execute it. I trust it. It's all trust.
Okay. All right. Same thing for you, Chise. What was it that made you say, all right, I'm on this?
I mean, for me, at first, it was all just about the work. You know what I'm saying? It was just, you know, being able to put in some work. You know, B always been the type to present me with some nice opportunities. And so, you know, when his opportunities came my way, I knew that, you know, it was something that I wanted to give my best. You know, it was something that I wanted to put my best foot forward on. So that's how it always been. So it was like, you know, it was just like at first it was like, okay, whatever he offer, okay, boom, okay, I do it, boom, boom. And it's like, you know, like if somebody just brings steak all the time, you know, of course you gonna always take the steak, and then one day the steak come with like 2 sides today. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, today we got some
smothered onions on
it,
some gravy.
Today we got some sides, huh? You know, and then,
Facts.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
facts.
It's like, okay, after
Something
them
new,
sides,
something new, something different.
you
Let's
feel
do
me?
it.
Okay, wait a minute, we ain't gonna do the steak today. Today, man, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna go ahead and do the lobster.
The fried
You
lobster
feel me? We're gonna
tails
do the
today.
fried lobster today. Blah, blah. So it's like, it's all leading up to, okay, wait a minute, you know? And now all of a sudden, a plan is presented.
So the rap is competitive too.
So it's like by then, why not say, why, you know? Why
So what
say
can
no
go
to that?
wrong?
What can go wrong?
So
especially when I ain't got no better option on the table.
So this is the rapper and me asking the question for you guys. So for it, were you guys like in the studio, like were you listening to her rhyme like okay, I see where you going. Let me do this, or did y'all kind of just go blind? Like you gonna do what you do, I do what I do. Like how did that come?
They were both.
We were given the concept, the
time.
ideas like ahead of time. He, you know, we sit down collectively a lot together. We have a lot of meetings and, you know, see where everybody head is at, how everybody's feeling. And once, you know, the idea came, then it was like, okay, this is what we doing it too. This is what I want y'all to talk about. And then from there, once I had the concept, then I just really pretty much just was like, okay, long as I'm going to deliver on that. And I just was focusing on delivering and doing a good job at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So it's, yeah, he gave us the beat and then said, okay, this going, honestly, Chise had came in, with a verse of his, and he went. I think he went. Or was it me?
You talking about as far as the hook?
The Coney Island, yeah. I think we was just honestly vibing, and we dropped our verse, and we was gonna come back and say, okay, this is what we gonna say on the hook, and everything just came organically. I'm gonna be real with you. It was an organic thing in there.
Two major moments in that session. So
Yeah, it was two.
the first moment was they both kind of went a little over on their verses.
Yeah.
So the extra that they put on their verses was so catchy organically and how they laid it. Myself and our engineer we was working with at the time, Asar, suggested moving that over to begin to build the foundation for the chorus.
Yeah.
Then I got the idea when we was there because I'm a huge fan of the Locks, especially Styles P and Jada when they go back and forth off each other. So initially the song was just gonna be the hook, her verse, his verse, and it was gonna be done. But in the booth, I was like, y'all should go
back and forth.
Yeah.
So we literally put both of them in the booth with the mic
At the same time.
And we did it that way. I know it was other ways you
That was all right on
That
the
was
spot.
all right
Yeah, I
off
was
of the
gonna say,
head.
that's
That
not
was
usual,
all right
but
on the
that's
spot.
not
Like I was literally looking at her legs.
Yeah.
I said that.
Shut up. We were just in there being silly. Like a lot of the times, is we be vibing. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, okay, come in here. We both was
But
in there, and it was that third verse was organic off the top of the head. Honestly.
That's part of what catches. I think the like you hear that when you hear
the song.
Like
Okay.
you hear the feel of that. Because that's back to like emotion. It don't sound like it, and I know it sound crazy, but emotions are captured in audio.
Yeah.
You got some of them songs that'll make you speed up when you driving. Some will make you cry. Some will make you think. So it's like, whatever you feel, you come outside, it's a good day. Okay, I'm gonna pop that in. I feel like this, similar to what you said about driving the Focus as opposed to driving the Money. You know what I'm saying? You gonna thug it out on the Money, but then in the Focus, you're gonna be like, okay, let me go put that car seat in there. Let me chill out, drive a little slower, put my blinker on.
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely a blinker car. And of that, it brings us towards the end of this interview. This been fun. We actually in overtime because it's past the hour.
Okay, but damn, that went fast. That was organic.
I do got the classic Detroit is different questions.
Okay.
So the first one, your very first car, year, make, and model, and what year did you get it?
A 02 Ford Taurus.
Okay.
Mine was a 98 Buick.
Okay.
A 98 Pontiac Grand Prix.
All right. Where was the first place you went when you got your ride?
Shoot, I think I might have went to Ridge. I think I went up into that old congested motherfucker. I went up in there in the heart of the artery up in there.
Okay.
Hit the corner so people could see me.
Okay. So yeah, you got your ride and was like, I'm going.
Out here. I'm about to go be in some corners. That's the whole point. Shoot, let me gas up, wash it. I'm out.
Did you get your crew or was you like, I'm going solo?
Nah, I was dolo. They was trying to jump in. I'm like, nah, let me get my swerve on. Let me see what I can do by myself. I don't need y'all help.
Chise.
When I first got my car, man, I just went and I went back to the crib. You know what I'm saying? Picked up my nigga T. You feel me? We cause really I really got the car just so it was so damn cold that winter, dog. We needed a car to smoke.
It be so cold in
dog.
Michigan. Woo.
You know what I'm saying?
Got a car for smoking purposes.
I really just needed something to smoke in, so it was like, nigga,
That's hilarious.
He said I just needed something to smoke in. I'm tired of standing outside.
Yeah, when we got the car, you know what I'm saying? We went to the store, got some drink, got some, you know what I'm saying, some
It was celebrating, baby.
yeah, swishes and all that. And we just cruised.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I probably
Get some corners too, huh?
I probably put like 25 in the tank.
Oh yeah, you filled that mug all the
You
way
know what I'm
up.
saying? It was a blue 98 Oldsmobile Buick.
Oh yeah, that mug was filled up.
Oh, no,
25
you know what I'm saying?
bones.
Carpet seats and shit.
Okay.
I called it the Blue Beast.
Okay.
The blue
You know what I'm saying? The
bees.
Blue Beast.
That's what's up. All right, where'd you grow?
Well, for me, it's probably the first one I did. I just thought about it. I could tell God working on me. Shout out my ex-wife. The 02 Ford Taurus, I drove to my job interview for a job I had today at Michigan State University. And she blessed me, in that situation because I had been busting and footing it for a long, this pre-Uber, pre-Lyft. So I was definitely the dude, put 10, 15, 20 in your gas tank to get to wherever I need to go. Had no shame in catching the bus. But that's what I did. The whole purpose of getting the vehicle was so that I could make my interview in Lansing.
Ain't that's like the pursuit of happiness story.
Right.
It's like, yo, I'm gonna get this job for real.
I had asked everybody,
real.
true story, because I had just graduated from college, so I literally asked everybody I knew. So, shout out to the situationships I had at the time because
Terrible.
they played their hand. I asked them yo, let me get the whip so I can go get the job. And had they played their situation right, they probably would have got the ring at the time because I'm like, this could change.
I'm pretty sure it's
You should have said that one. You should have said that one, bro.
P-Dot already like, this
He
is
shoulda said
revisionist
that
history.
one. You should have said that.
It's real story.
No, I mean,
How you gonna get somebody to ring because they let you use the car to get the job?
No. You don't understand what I'm saying. No, I understand what I'm saying. Like, what I'm saying is, like, this wasn't, like, I still have this career today. So this wasn't like me working at Taco Bell or me working at Burger King.
It was a career.
Shout out to all
That ain't no
like,
reason.
But I'm just saying, like,
Shit, y'all got all been through. That's why shit don't last now.
I got gold.
That's why shit don't last now.
It's gonna be like
Long-
Kevin
long story
Samuels
short.
interview. It's gonna be like,
but long story short, all I'm saying is that in retrospect, it was the fact that at the time she was willing to make that sacrifice and she believed in what I was trying to do.
that's what's up.
And so for me, like, that was the reason. It wasn't for the physical of the car. It was just like I went to my grandmother, I went to my grandfather, I went to everybody I knew because I knew that if I didn't make that interview,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have got, you know what I'm saying?
You got that right. You can't show up to a job interview late.
Right. And that changed
Unless
my
you
whole
like
life.
a
It
temp or
changed,
something.
it changed my whole family life. It changed everything that was around me.
That's
so,
what's up.
yeah.
All right, next classic Detroit is different question. You the DJ at the fireworks. It's the end of the fireworks, Woodward and Jefferson. You get to play one song. And it's over. What song you playing?
Too short, it's time to go.
Okay.
That song get everybody out the building. They be dancing their way right on about the place. It's
Okay.
time to go. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
The old school Cutie Pie record.
Old school Cutie Pie, One Way, Al Hudson, Detroit Connection 2.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Oh, man. I'm just trying to see what
Chopped
you
and
finna say.
Screwed.
Chop the screw?
Said T-Pain.
Okay.
T-Pain,
There we go.
Shout out
Chopped and
T-Pain.
Screwed.
He don't get
He
enough
said
credit.
2 in the morning.
Okay.
He don't get enough credit.
So, and then last question. If you could rename Woodward after one Detroiter, who would it be?
Call me young.
Okay. That's who most people say.
I'm gonna
Dang,
tell you.
that's
I'm gonna
hard.
tell, I'm gonna tell you why. Because Coleman get revisionist history too.
Yeah, you got that right.
Coleman did a lot for the city that went unaccredited.
Yes.
Like he was truly a black Detroit mayor in every sense of each word of that. Like he did for the community. He kept the streets under control. He kept the policing under control. Like Detroit was blossoming in terms of being the richest black populace. Like Coleman and Young don't get enough credit as a mayor, bro. Like
Not at all. Not at all.
Hey, I want to take my song back.
You want to change your song?
Yeah, it's all about it
I
now.
knew you was going to do
2 in the
something.
morning, Woodward and Jefferson. I will play Stretch Money, Takes Money to Make Money.
Okay, shout out Stretch. Okay. People will be like after the fireworks, they gonna be
They want to hit them 2 o'clock
They gonna
stoves.
be stepping their way home. They gonna be doing like a hustle.
They looking for the last stove.
hustle
Shoot, nobody want to
routine.
go home.
So rename Woodward after one Detroiter. Who is it?
Proof.
Okay, Big P, love P. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one right there.
I'm thinking hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking hard. It's so much that goes on. Like I would probably say, I'm gonna go into the boxing realm like Emmanuel Stewart because my uncles. I got 2 uncles that made pro. Frank Tate and Thomas Tate, and they were the ones. He was the one that trained them and got them into the Olympics and was able to create the legacy in my family. And was able to meet a lot of the greats because of that. So I would say that a lot of people don't give it up to Crunk.
That's what's up. You rocking the Crunk colors right now, actually.
I
Just
think
by
I
default.
am. You know what I'm saying?
By
It is by
default.
default. Yeah, it is. Yeah, but that's definitely who I get the roses to.
That's what's up. All right, with that being said, thank you so much. Where do people connect with the music? Y'all can drop that, and we going to get this out.
Go ahead, Chaz.
I'll go.
Hey, what up, though, man? It's your boy Chise, representing 3269 as always. And you can, you can follow me on IG at 3269 Chise, CHISE, like franchise. Facebook, Chise D-Boy Mason. You can go to my official website, dboysound.com, all lowercase. You know what I'm saying? You can check out all of my videos. My latest video, Crown Royal Diary, that's off my album Club Shirley's, available on all digital platforms. You know what I'm saying? Coney Island 2. You know what I'm saying? That's my most recent drop with P. Dot. You know what I'm saying? Got 8, fire joints on it. It's doing well. So, you can check that out on the website. YouTube channel Mason Made. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Temperature check video. You know what I'm saying? That's out.
Okay. And then I'm going to play a snippet of one of the video. I'm going to talk to you about getting that before this too. So, same thing for you, P. Dot. How people get to the music?
Y'all can follow me. I'm active on Facebook, Pamela P. Dot Willis, and my music page, P. Dot. Also very active on Instagram, P. Dot Music, PDOT, and Dot Gang on there. Tap into my music. You can read up on my bio, get caught up on everything from the old to the new. Watch the glow up, www.dotgang.net. Go ahead and cop those projects for the free. You can get the Coney Island 1, Problem Child 1 and 2, Class Act Raw and Uncut. So you can support me, you know what I'm saying, drop a couple dollars on your girl and get Cody High Class of 2020, Detroit's Bad Girl, Coney Island 2. You know what I mean? And make sure that y'all just follow us and stick with us, man. We got a lot of work on the floor. We working. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be the last of us. You know what I'm saying? So make sure y'all stay tapped in.
All right, respect. Peace be.
Detroit is Different is where you get information, artistry, history, music, and even comedy. Detroit is Different, a home for the culture of Detroit. Visit online at DetroitisDifferent.com today.